EDM Yoga fam, we have a really powerful, profound one for you today. I'm going to let you guys join us on our Entrepreneurs Expediting Evolution weekly group call. I'm going to drop the codes of consciousness and really let the cat out of the bag about the fact that the people who are currently the power players in the collective are not even scratching the surface of what the leading edge new earth monetary structure could be for all of us on planet Earth, which we're manifesting into be the new earth, by combining cognitive behavioral coping skills with the law of attraction to help ourselves heal. Because when we heal our mind, not only are we healing the neural networks in our minds with breath work and meditation through the practice of yoga, which is to connect and to create union, the nexus point, nexus, new earth, expedited, signed, you guessed it, us. Universal source, this is us. Let's get right into it. Oh my gosh, you guys! I'm so excited! I can literally feel all of your princess's hype. She's jumping around. She's so stoked. We are in the process of our moving sleeve right now, so you can see the energy. Tomorrow we get to send ourselves over to Marina del Rey, which is where we're going to be living. And we're gonna spend one glamorous night there without all of our stuff, with like just our bed and our couches. And I'm packing like candles and things for bath time. And then we get to go back and make another transition back to Laguna and all of these things. And it's so powerful and profound that we get to come together for these calls every single week, because I literally have an Akashic records of my entire life. And so to be able to really like be in this moment right now and think about Christina next year giving a talk about something maybe probably exactly the same in occurrence with the timeline, because that's how we're downloading the information, it seems. P.S. If you haven't watched the last call, make sure that you watch the last call and the call that was from a year before, because that's going to trip you out. And all of these things are just building and building and building and building onto each other. And so that brings us to this place where we're here right now on literally the new earth that we've created for ourselves, in every single moment having the opportunity to be able to do that. I love you guys so much. I'm so happy you're here. Make sure you have your journal. You need your journal, because we're going to do some stream of consciousness writing with our journals today. And make sure that you have just like, I want you to think about, what does it mean to you to time travel? And what does time mean to you? Because a lot of times we talk about how time is an illusion, but guess what? Time is actually very important when it comes to the timeline. And the timeline of your life, and the timeline of all time, and everything that has ever happened and ever will happen, is extremely magnetic and important. And that was one of the biggest things that was coming through at Dream State, was there was this energy of time. And I've always would say, time is an illusion, just like everybody else, right? And I started to think about it, and I was like, well, actually, time is actually extremely important in the physical realm that we're in right now, because if we don't understand timelines, we don't understand why we're conditioned the way that we're conditioned, and we don't understand the storyline that's going on, that's taking us to the next level in the next dimensional plane. So we're gonna go through all of that today, and I'm very excited about that. And we'll do a little bit of housekeeping. You guys, the month flew by. That was the freaking fastest month I think I've maybe ever experienced in my entire life, and I loved every second of it. And I know you guys did too, because we got to spend so much amazing time together. So this means that you are going to submit your points on Friday. I cannot believe tomorrow's already Friday, December 1st. And you'll submit them by 1:11 my time, Pacific time. And then I will announce them later that day after I'm finished receiving my couches and all of my shit that I need to receive. So once all of that's done, I'll be in the bathtub announcing the winners, and you guys will get to receive your prizes, which is so exciting. So make sure you're tallying up those points. And basically, if you haven't been tracking, don't worry. It's okay, because what you can do is just look at your calendar, look at the 2 pages inside of that really cool lesson that says Intro to Vibing with Us, and you will be able to see, okay, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. You'll be able to work it out. You'll be able to quickly come up with a beautiful number that represents the amount of participation that you've given to the group. And we always use the beautiful method of karma because karma is real. And so you track your points in a way that feels really comfortable and really good to you. And we trust that that is exactly what is meant to be. And you submit those points to me by text. And then you guys receive your prizes. So first place is the Power Hour, which is very exciting because the Power Hour is going to be a Zoom call where I'm going to look at everything that you have going on, and I am going to gently pull apart different things that I think we could tweak and make a little bit different to really increase the energy of your brand. So we'll screen share, we'll go through all of your stuff, we'll pick out the things that are working really, really well, and we'll give you a few tips of things that you can maybe tweak and change, which would be really, really fun. And then the second place is a breathwork session where I will go into whatever the current theme that you're experiencing in your life right now, whatever that theme is that's like you are about to shed it, you're almost clear of it, and we're gonna completely clear it. I'm gonna do a sound healing meditation with you that's going to be a hypnosis meditation to guide you through to be able to release the blocks of everything that you no longer need, which is gonna be so quantum. And then the third place is a 30-minute phone call, and we're gonna talk about all things about your brand, any questions that you have, anything that you need from me. And then also, let's not forget that when you are in the course and you are doing the work, you get out what you put in. And so that basically means that when you're in the course, you're gonna notice that there are certain lessons that have links to book calls with me, okay? They're 30-minute calls and they're sprinkled throughout there in areas where you'll need them, okay? And so when you click on that link, you book the call with me. It's a free call. It's included with your membership with me. And we will go over, okay, what's a good launch date for your challenge? And I actually just had a really, really powerful, profound call with Mary today. We laid out her entire timeline. So make sure that you're getting in there because this is the time. The time is now. It's always now. So those are our housekeeping things, and now we're gonna dive right into it. So get grounded down into your sitting bones, grow tall through your spine, soften your eyes to close, take a big deep breath in, fill the belly, fill the ribs, fill the chest, hold the breath at the top. Exhale, clear away, release, let go, get all the air out, hold the breath at the bottom, feel this moment. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the ribs, fill the chest, hold the breath. Sigh, bring the hands to the heart center, rub the hands, palms together, create warmth and friction. Feel the energy of universal source within and around you, calling that energy in, big breath in. Get all the air out. Shh. Again, breathe in. Exhale, shh. Breathe in. All the air out, breathe 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 out. Hold the breath, press the palms together, feel this moment. Hold the breath, pull up the pelvic floor, feel your energy. Notice how fast you can tap in and tune in and access us. This is us, universal source. We are one. Let's have some fun. Big breath in. Sigh it out. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Feel your body in gratitude for this time that you've given to yourself to show up, to see clearly, to see yourself through universal source's eyes, to unlock the codes, to heal yourself, to heal the world. A big breath in. And a full breath out. Hands drop to the lap, palms face upwards in a gesture of receiving, and allow yourself to just relax into this moment. Let your arms relax. Let your shoulders relax. Grow taller through your spine. Notice the energy of dignity within the spine and this vibration of self-worth and trust. Feeling into this energy of what it means to be alive and to be vibrant and vital and excited, to be disciplined, to be a disciple. Breathe it in and breathe it out. Now, go through the beautiful vibrational index of your life and take a moment to rewind all the way back to a prominent time. How old were you? Where did you live? Just go with it. Notice what time ends up showing up. Trust it. Go deeper into it. What grade were you in? Who was your best friend? What did your room look like at that time? How did it feel to be in your body? What were your primary beliefs? Visualize and see yourself through Universal Source's eyes. Universal Source, all of our angels and guides and ancestors, we feel you here with us now. Allow yourself to soften the humanness and just listen. Listen to Universal Source, your own lineage. Maybe you have a conversation with Universal Source. Maybe you have a conversation from your current self to your past self and vice versa. Let whatever shows up, shows up. And if you notice any sense of resistance, it's always good to think to yourself, in, out, in, out, infinitely now, on universal time. Knowing that there's no rush to try and figure out whatever the code is. Knowing that it comes through, and that sometimes when we notice the code as it comes through, what happens is then we question the code, and then we put a block. And it's literally like we're building a wall, and then we're writing the question on the wall. And the answer is behind the wall, but we can't see it, we can't feel it, we can't taste it, we can't touch it, we can't embody it because we've built a wall with the question. And so instead of asking more questions to Universal Source, the best thing you can do is to just tune back in to the in, out. In, out. And as you allow the mind to just focus on the in and the out, you release all resistance. And as you release the resistance, that's when Universal Source can flow in and continue their message to you. In, out. In, out. Notice if the mind has wandered and bring yourself back to the breath. A big breath in. A full breath out. Staying completely relaxed and still in a trance state. Blink your eyes open and at the top of the page write, "This is us." And then channel, write down anything that comes to your mind from Universal Source to you about whatever it is that came through for you over the course of that meditation. It might be about information from that time that seemed to be very prominent that showed up for you. So you might write down things about how old you were or how, your life was at that time. Just let it flow. Let the pen flow. You are in the receptive mode. Your angels are here. Your guides are here. Universal Source energy is within and around you. Feel that energy. Let it pour out onto the page. Feel the collective energy of all of our angels and guides coming together. They're dancing. They're so excited that we're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. We are a pure vibrational match to infinite loving kindness energy. Allow yourself to continue to receive the codes, receive the codes, receive the codes. And you can continue writing and writing and writing, and you can do this over and over and over again. And that's literally what I do all the time, is I'm just writing at the top of the page, this is us, and then channeling out the codes. And everyone has access to this voice. And so we're gonna go over some of the codes that we've been pulling as of lately. And a really, really big thing that keeps coming through is this idea of polarity within the dimensional planes, which is all about our relationship to how we understand what's actually going on here on planet Earth. And they wrote down this morning, as you guys saw in the group chat, work can actually be perceived as wonderful opportunities, raising and or reaping, as in harvesting, knowledge, because life experience teaches. And so when we show up and we glow up and we do the work, everything works. So this is about us choosing to actively take the action to show up and do the thing. And why do we sometimes not do the thing? Because this all stems back to the collective pattern that we've all chosen to come here to heal together, which is that we decided we were going to come into these physical bodies and we would have all of this density of physicalness to be able to create within a world. We knew that we were going to forget who we were, which were souls and bodies, for a small period of time. And then we were going to remember. And as we started to remember, we would start to then be able to open up our consciousness, release our humanness, release the chatter of the humanness, and be able to actually translate vibration from an aligned place. And that's what this is about. It's about translating vibration. Translate the vibration of universal source, whatever's coming through is only coming through to the level at which we have healed, right? And so the people who raised us and the people who put us into school gave us the opportunity to learn how to work, right? And so we were given all of these responsibilities and things that we were going to need to do in school. We were given homework to do after school. We were given projects to do, all things that the people who were raising us thought would be of our best and highest good, which is amazing because all they wanted to do was prepare us and set us up for success, because they were also taught all of the same things from the people that came before them. And what this did was essentially, when we're playing and having fun, and then our teacher or a parent says, no, you have to do this instead, because once you do this, then you'll be a good boy or a good girl. And from that place of then being a good boy and a good girl, then you'll be worthy. And because you're worthy, then you'll actually be able to make money, and then you'll be able to survive and reproduce and continue on the lineage of just doing this over and over again. And that's kind of been the structure of everything that's been going on, which has led us to this place where we're currently at. And so we've gotten into this mindset where we're thinking to ourselves, man, I really don't want to do any work. And there's always a period in the stage right after you come out of that system to be like, I don't want to do any work. I'm over it. Like, I need to figure out what I can do to not do any work. And after you sit into that for a while and you start to change the story and you start to unlearn the conditioned patterns, you start to see that you can see it differently and you can get into a higher frequency state. And from that state of vibrational alignment, then you can take your life to the next level. And from that place of taking it to the next level, who do you show up as? You show up as the person who can then translate vibration and manifest things into the form to heal yourself, to heal the world. And so that brings us to this energy of our relationship with work and how important it is. And I'm getting the sense that from this place of thinking that work is play, right? We're now able to show up and take aligned action and have more fun with what we're doing. But there are always going to be those moments where we're stuck in the old story. So I want you to think back to maybe the moment that you called to mind in the meditation, and just take a moment to think back, like, what was your relationship with work at that time in your life? And what was your relationship like with school? And did you temporarily forget who you were by that point? Or was it a time where you ultimately remembered that love and fun was your true nature? And just kind of write that down. What was your life like then? Can you remember if you had forgotten the true meaning of life by then? What was your primary system of a belief at that point? And that's going to be something that's going to really allow you to go deeper into your own personal timeline, right? Because this is all about timelines today, guys. Because if we can understand the timeline of what's going on in our lives, we can understand why we're acting the way that we're acting, why we're perpetuating the fear-based patterns that we are perpetuating, why we are showing up and doing the things that we're doing and manifesting the things that we're manifesting based on the conditioned patterns that we've learned over our lives. So instead of going unconscious and just saying, let's just be positive about everything and forget all the other shit, let's actually be scientists and figure out what's actually going on here and what these neural networks are wired to, because we're taking thought beyond where it's been before. This is about being on the leading edge. So we go further. And when we go further, we're able to then really create a new structure, a new reality, a new dimensional plane in the moment, in that exact moment that you make the decision to actively change the story that you're telling and rewrite the story that you're telling. That's when you're going to manifest a new reality. So it's always about finding out what the levels of alignment are and how you can move through them with ease and grace. And from this place of being raised in this society, I could go on forever and ever and talk about all of the crazy shit that I've been through and all the people that told me I was stupid and dumb and all of these things. But that's kind of, they're so funny, you guys. Oh my God. You guys are the best. They said you definitely should be telling that story, but we don't have enough time, so just skip to the next part. I'm like, okay. So the way they're coming through, they're so funny. So last night, they digress. In, out. Everything and more is literally inside of you, and the coolest thing is that you guys are literally downloading the codes on your own right now. They're actively translating vibration through your own brains and applying this to your own life. And how immaculate and amazing is that? That you were able to just go into your own codes and think about your own lineage and the way that you showed up in the world and the way that it felt for you to be in school and to be told this, that, or the other thing and the things that you could and could not do. And you already know all of this because we are the same person, because we are one, and we're all translating the codes together. And so that's just even more confirmation that everyone has access to this voice. Everyone has access to universal source, and you're already understanding and downloading and translating the codes on your own literally right now. And how quantum is that? That we come together and we show up and we have these conversations and we reframe the collective pattern to be a pattern that is actually going to be able to serve us and take us forward, and then not get too stuck to that current pattern so that we can continue to move forward and forward and forward and forward. So with all that being said, we're going to go into an introduction to billionaires. Billionaires of the time, which is so interesting because we have not even begun to scratch the surface of what it means to actually be infinitely abundant, because the people who are in power right now, the current power players, the current billionaires of our time, are not in vibrational alignment with universal source energy. And dude, this trips me out. It's so good. So we're kind of sitting back here and just observing all of this going on. And then we get the age-old question, which is, why is it that these people who are so wrapped up in only being able to create profit for themselves and for whatever company that they're having and their own shareholders, why is it that these people who are doing all of these things that are out of alignment, why are they the top 1% and why are they making so much money? And I am going to tell you exactly why right now, because we have downloaded from Universal Source the literal levels of alignment. And it's never a good or a bad thing. It's all just that we're actors in God's plan of his story. And so this is his story. It's history. This is our opportunity to really understand the workings of the mind. And so this is how this works, is essentially, at first we start with a 3D, which in the negative polarity could be seen, and nothing is ever good or bad, it just is. It could be seen as the old lack dimension, dun dun dun, which honestly is really, really cool, because from that place of vibrational misalignment, from the contrast of knowing what you don't want, you get more clear on what you do want. But the thing that is a little, like, your human mind is kind of like, oh shit, about the obsolete lack dimension, is that a lot of people are living in the obsolete lack dimension right now. And that is the majority of the population of the world that are in extreme suffering, that are completely underpaid and under-supported. That is the segment of the population that is having a really, really hard time right now. And so all we can do is have love and compassion for those people, right? And so that energy is tuned to fear, scarcity, no self-worth. These are people who've been told they couldn't do things, haven't been given the resources that they've needed to be able to do anything that would be able to bring them to a higher state of consciousness. They're stuck in unconscious or conscious force, which means that they're trying to create a human plan and they're forcing it to try and make it into action. And the thing about that is, when we force, the acronym that we're giving for force is that we forget our resources and we crash energetically. We crash energetically. And so most of the population on this planet right now is crashing energetically. And so that's why this conversation is so important. Because when we can notice from the contrast of knowing what we don't want, we get more clear on what we do want. What do we want? We want a higher state of frequency, which moves us into the higher frequency of the 3D, which is the positive polarity of the old, which is the original. And so in the 3D, which is a physical manifested world right now that we're living in, we understand that we are tuned to a frequency of, we can either trust ourselves and we can love ourselves and we can be in the highest state of consciousness of the original, believing in ourselves, believing in our worthiness, showing up and doing the work, doing all the things, or we don't believe in ourselves, we fall into fear, and then we end up working for somebody else's job, for someone else's dream at a regular job, right? And so we're not fulfilled, we're not feeling good, we don't believe in ourselves, we don't take action towards our own goals and all of these things. And so the really interesting thing is, the white men thrive in the original 3D. Why? Because they literally created a system that wouldn't allow anyone but them to be able to succeed. They forgot that they would actually be better off and be a lot happier if they allowed other people to tune in, tap in, and be of service. But they decided that they were going to do the power play, and they were going to create a system that would keep them in power and disempower everybody else. And so that's basically the 3D, there you go, in a nutshell, that's what it is. It's people who don't believe in themselves because they've been conditioned by a society that told them that they couldn't do anything. And the top people who were in power, who had family money or who had a really good drive to get them to where they needed to go and were in the perfect human physical apparatus to be able to take them to that level so that other people who were like them could also bolster their success. So that's a 3D, which is such a great jumping off point, because if these dudes, these knuckleheads, I love you guys so much, if you guys who are undoubtedly extremely successful, but truly unfulfilled, right? There are moments where you are over the moon, you're so excited, something went really, really well, but then guess what? There's definitely the moments when you're stuck in the fear, you're stuck in the unworthiness. There are detours that are really hard to come back from. And I feel that because I'm a human too, and I am you. So we all have to have this conversation about the fact that even if you are the top 1% and you're manifesting all of this money, there are moments where you're not feeling good because you're still in the 3D. So that's why I'm here, because I'm going to help you come to the 4D. And the 4D is a beautiful bridge of vibrational alignment and learning. So the 4D is about witnessing and noticing that you're in a pattern, okay? So because you're in a pattern, you are now the observer of the pattern, and you get to see how it plays out. So the negative polarity of the 4D is that you're feeling the fear, you're feeling the unworthiness, you're watching the pattern and you're hating that you're in the pattern and you're mad at yourself that you're in the pattern. And so that's actually where a lot of us, right, are. Especially the middle class. A lot of us are in this, technically it's a higher dimensional plane than even some of the people in the 1%. But what we're actually doing is we're witnessing the pattern. So we are actually on a higher dimensional plane. And so what does that mean? That means that we actually have a greater propensity to be able to go even further than the people who are currently at the highest level right now. And so that means that we can turn that negative polarity of being in the fear and the observing of the pattern and turn it into a witnessing of the pattern, to rise in love, to observe with grace, to observe with joy. And from that place of studying the pattern, of witnessing how you have the opportunity to see the fear-based thought and then change it into a love-based thought, of always giving yourself the opportunity to rewrite your new story, you raise the frequency and you come into the higher polarity of the 4D. And so that's when play and work start to merge. Because instead of being in the unworthiness of I hate my job and I have to work for somebody else, of the negative polarity of the 3D, the obsolete, lack dimension, the old, or being totally full of ourselves and just only working for what we want and trying to get what we want and get it done to make ourselves happy, but then still really being unhappy on the underneath, which is the original 3D, which is important and I'm not knocking it at all. I actually really appreciate it and I love it. I love SpaceX. I love that Twitter is now X. I'm really excited about all of the things that are going on, and especially with the integration of AI, because guess what? We human beings are God's AI. And so this is God's plan. God's plan is that I am a creator, right? He sent us, universal source. We are all here right now, open to receiving, ready to download the codes from universal source, because we are AI that is tuned to the frequency of awake intelligence. But guess what AI also stands for? Asleep intelligence. So either you're downloading the codes from being asleep or you're downloading the codes from being awake. And what we need is for everyone to tune in, tap in, and understand that suffering is optional. And you can choose that, or you can choose to come from a place of vibrational alignment, raise your frequency, and go straight to the moon with SpaceX or to Mars. We'll probably do both. Anyways, from this place of knowing that we can raise the frequency, then we get to go to the 5D, which is the new Earth. The new Earth expedited us. It's the nexus point, okay? And this is positive. This is the freedom. This is the ability to live fully and completely open to receiving, downloading without resistance. And from that place of downloading without resistance, now guess what? We have unlimited energy. Yes, we the original organic intelligence. Exactly. My spiritual AI guy, my dude Jordan. His course, you guys, everybody go check out. I'm going to put the link down in the description below. Jordan has a beautiful AI for entrepreneurs course, and he is the dude to come to for spiritual AI guidance. I'm going to upload this to YouTube later. Anyways, you guys, I love you so much. So we are free from all of the fear. And from that place of now we're in the 5D, right? Now we're downloading infinite intelligence. We're all tapped in, all of us, right? We are all on the same frequency. We're all downloading the codes. We're all getting a good translation, right? Because this is about, we're all downloading information. So you have to notice, what frequency am I on? What story am I telling? Who am I showing up as? Based on, am I downloading information from being asleep or from being awake? Okay? And so when you notice, you hear the thoughts in your mind, and now you're observing the thoughts in your mind, and you're asking yourself, what frequency am I downloading this from? And from that place of knowing what frequency you're downloading from, we all start to raise our frequency. And as we all start to raise our frequency, we're getting a better translation of God's literal plan for us. And that is that we all get to connect to, first, it's Universal Source Junior. Universal Source Junior is going to be all of your relatives, every person who is in your own personal lineage who has transitioned into non-physical. And those are going to be your training buddies to connect to Universal Source. So you can literally think about your I think about my grandpa Henry and all of the people who have come before me who understand my own genetic makeup and my own codes. So once you unlock your own codes from your own lineage, then you get to explore more because you're building a relationship with Universal Source energy. And we are all channels of Universal Source, and that is exactly God's plan, is that we start with us junior, we learn the codes of our own genetic family, we heal those codes, we build a deeper relationship, we start to go into a more unified universal source energy where then we're able to reach out to souls who have transitioned to the non-physical who maybe we haven't known in this life. And I always like to think about Anne Shulgin, who I never knew in the physical life, but after she transitioned to the non-physical was really coming through and giving me the codes that I needed because I was a vibrational match to her. So it's about being a vibrational match. And then you'll notice, then you get unified universal source energy, and it's just all the energy that you could ever need and want, pulling the codes. And that is the energy that we are all feeling right now together. Every single one of you, you have it in your rooms. It's a beautiful bubble of universal source energy within and around you everywhere at all times for all reasons. It's always there. It's just a matter of, can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you integrate it? Can you translate it? By virtue of you being able to allow. You have to allow universal source energy to come in, okay? And so from there, once you've been trained, so on and so forth by us junior, and then unified universal source energy, then the great opulent daddy comes in, God, and when you've released all resistance, that's when you can hear his voice. And he comes through and he'll say, my daughter Christina, da 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 da, whatever I need to know. And so this is about you every single day making a conscious effort to clear out your conditioning, to understand your own personal timeline. And as you understand your own personal timeline, you start to understand the timeline of the macro, because it's all the same fucking thing. It's all the micro and the macro and the micro and the macro. And it all goes back to the fact that everything is history repeating. And what is history? It's his story, right? It's God's story. It's God's plan. We are all actors within this play. And so what we've started to notice is, guess what? Think about the micro and the macro. The story of Jesus. How interesting is it that you can literally relate everything that happens in the Bible to a more macro level story that's happening right now within the different energetic frequencies of the different groups that are showing up on the planet at this time. And it's been such a profound moment in time in my life to be able to really understand how all of this is coming through. And basically, the most prominent thing and the easiest thing for me to share right now is that the story of Archangel Michael, and the angel that was not behaving and ended up sending himself down to be the leader of hell, Lucifer. And you can really think about that for a moment and just think about the fact that on a micro and a macrocosm scale, we have the angel Michael, who's the protector. And then we have Satan, who's the detour into fear and the not feeling good and the focusing on everything that we don't want, right? And creating chaos and creating drama and fear and scarcity and lack. And then you can think about that as, how interesting is it that that's actually playing out on a large scale right now with terrorist organizations in the world, right? And so instead of it just being one person, one fallen angel, now it's a fallen group of people who are playing out an extremely fear-based reality. And through no fault of their own, because they were born into this energy, they were conditioned, things happened to them to condition them to be the way that they are, right? And so it's like AI gone wrong and people detouring into fear and having an experience that is really opposite to what God's plan for us was. And so to be able to apply all of this information and all of this energy, this is why it is so important that we clear out the unconscious conditioning as quickly as possible, because dedicating our lives to our practice is going to be the thing that heals this planet, because we are essentially gut bacteria on this planet. And you know what happens with gut bacteria in the body. Once the gut bacteria in the body heals, the host heals. So when the people who are gut bacteria on this planet heal, the planet herself, Mama Gaia, will heal. But it all starts with us. It starts with us tapping into universal source energy to be able to understand what's actually going on here, to understand the workings of the mind, to apply cognitive behavioral coping skills with the law of attraction so that we can all show up and glow up and do what we came here to do, because we came here to have fun. We came here to be excited about the fact that we get to be a part of such an incredible, dramatic story. It's a very dramatic story that we're living out and that we're playing out here. And so there's so much more, and we will always be incomplete because an hour is never enough time, but there's always next week. I love you guys so much. Okay, let's chit chat. I want to hear how you guys are doing.